The life of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, stands as one of the most admired and impactful figures in American history. Born into poverty, Lincoln rose to become a self-educated lawyer, a powerful orator, and ultimately, the leader who guided the nation through its darkest period, the Civil War. His legacy is not only tied to the preservation of the Union but also to his unwavering commitment to the principles of liberty, equality, and democracy. Early life and humble beginnings. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in a one-room log cabin in Hardin County, now LaRue County, Kentucky. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, were poor farmers who struggled to make ends meet. When Lincoln was just 9 years old, his mother died from milk sickness, leaving a deep emotional scar. A year later, his father remarried Sarah Bush Johnston, a kind and caring woman who encouraged young Abraham's curiosity and love for reading. Despite having less than a year of formal education, Lincoln was a voracious reader. He borrowed books from neighbors and read everything he could get his hands on, from the Bible to Shakespeare. His early life in the rural frontier taught him the values of hard work, honesty, and perseverance, qualities that would shape his future character. Journey into law and politics. In 1830, Lincoln's family moved to Illinois, where he began to establish his path. He worked as a laborer, rail splitter, and store clerk before eventually teaching himself law. In 1836, he passed the bar exam and became a practicing lawyer in Springfield, Illinois. His legal career brought him respect and financial stability, but his heart remained in public service. Lincoln first entered politics in 1834 when he was elected to the Illinois state legislature as a member of the Whig Party. Over time, his eloquence, integrity, and strong stance against the expansion of slavery gained him recognition. In 1846, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, serving a single term. Although he temporarily stepped away from politics, the passing of the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, allowing slavery to expand into new territories, reignited his passion for public service. Lincoln joined the newly formed Republican Party, which opposed the spread of slavery. The road to the presidency. Lincoln gained national attention during the Illinois Senate race of 1858, where he engaged in a series of debates with Democratic incumbent Stephen A. Douglas. Although Lincoln lost the election, the debates showcased his powerful arguments against slavery and established him as a prominent national figure. In 1860, the Republican Party nominated Lincoln as its candidate for president. Despite limited political experience, his strong moral stance and ability to unite factions within the party earned him widespread support. He won the election, becoming the first Republican president. His victory, however, triggered a crisis. Several Southern states, fearing that Lincoln would abolish slavery, seceded from the Union, leading through the Civil War. Just weeks after Lincoln's inauguration in March 1861, the Civil War erupted with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter. The war would last 4 grueling years, testing Lincoln's leadership and resolve. Throughout the conflict, Lincoln was determined to preserve the Union. At the same time, he recognized that slavery lay at the heart of the national division. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring all slaves in Confederate states to be free. While it didn't immediately end slavery, it redefined the war's purpose and paved the way for its eventual abolition. Lincoln also championed the passage of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States. His leadership during this turbulent time showed his deep commitment to justice and equality, even in the face of enormous political and military pressure. The Gettysburg Address and Lincoln's legacy. One of Lincoln's most enduring contributions came on November 19, 1863, at the dedication of a national cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. There, he delivered the famous Gettysburg Address, a speech of just 272 words that powerfully reaffirmed the nation's founding ideals of liberty and democracy. In it, he stated that the Civil War was a test of whether a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal could endure. Lincoln's ability to express profound ideas in simple, moving language made him one of the most effective communicators in American history. His speeches inspired not only his contemporaries but generations to come. Tragic end. As the Civil War drew to a close in April 1865, Lincoln saw the promise of a reunited nation. On April 9, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, effectively ending the war. But Lincoln would not live to oversee the nation's reconstruction. Just 5 days later, on April 14, 1865, he was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer. While attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., he died the next morning, plunging the country into mourning. Lincoln's death was a national tragedy, but it solidified his status as a martyr for liberty and union. His leadership and moral clarity left an indelible mark on the nation's history. Legacy and impact. Abraham Lincoln's life story, from a log cabin in Kentucky to the White House, embodies the American ideal that anyone, regardless of birth or wealth, can rise to greatness. He preserved the Union, ended slavery, and redefined the nation's commitment to its founding principles. More than 150 years after his death, Lincoln's legacy continues to inspire. His face appears on the penny and the $5 bill, and his memorial stands as one of the most visited landmarks in Washington, D.C. Historians consistently rank him among the greatest U.S. presidents for his courage, wisdom, and dedication to justice. In a time of division, Lincoln reminded Americans of their shared ideals. His belief in government of the people, by the people, for the people, still echoes today as a beacon of democracy. Final reflections on a legacy that shaped a nation. Abraham Lincoln's life remains one of the most powerful examples of how integrity, resilience, and a commitment to justice can transform both a person and a country. From his modest beginnings in a Kentucky log cabin to the halls of the White House, Lincoln's journey was not driven by privilege but by purpose. He stood firm in the face of civil war, made the bold move to end slavery, and spoke words that continue to echo through history. The Gettysburg Address and the Emancipation Proclamation were not just political acts, they were moral declarations that redefined what America stood for. Lincoln proved that leadership requires more than intelligence, it demands empathy, vision, and moral courage. His tragic death was a profound loss, but his ideals live on, woven into the very fabric of the United States. And that's the incredible story of Abraham Lincoln, an ordinary man who left behind an extraordinary legacy. From humble beginnings to leading a nation through civil war, Lincoln showed us that greatness is not about where you come from, but what you stand for. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and share your thoughts about Lincoln's legacy in the comments below. What inspires you the most about his life? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more powerful stories from history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.